message for the collective this morning. And what I came up with first, or what flew out to me, is this card, Baby Steps. And it says, act before it makes sense. Just keep following your intuition and following your joy. And this is a really beautiful card that's really resonating with me this morning, because I've been in a period of really, craving some deep rest, like in my soul, really wanting that nourishment coming back to me. I've been finding myself in these periods of kind of, hustling and struggling and striving, and not just, at work, but in parenting and relationships, in working in the home, even in my hobbies and my activities, whether it's yoga or breath work or the gym. There's this attitude of trying to be better and better and better at everything, or even just like pushing. But of course, as we know, when we push, we create resistance in the body, we create pain, we create anguish in our lives. It's not a sustainable energy to maintain. So what my body has been screaming out for is to take a rest from that, to go into more of a yin energy. And what we've had fly out with Baby Steps is release the old and rest. So when I hear release the old, what I'm really getting here is like an old paradigm, an old way of doing things, an old attitude or an old energy that's really just started to run its course, started to burn out a little bit. And it really makes me think. I've been reading Medical Medium by Anthony Williams. It's really pulling me in. And one of the things that he talks about that really, really resonates is this adrenal fatigue that everybody's developed, because we're using our adrenaline to get through all of our sluggishness, all of our distractions, our neurodivergence, our sensitivity. We use adrenaline as a way to motivate ourselves. And while it might feel good in the moment, what it does ultimately is just absolutely burns us out. So what I'm really feeling here from this release the old and rest is it's really a bit of a choice here about what kind of death you want to experience now. Do you want to experience the getting hit by a truck because you didn't listen to your body and all the signs from spirit to slow down? Or do you want to release the death of an old version of yourself? A version of yourself who's trying to do things in a particular way that's just not meeting your rhythm at the moment. And this is not instructional, okay? You're allowed to listen to whatever rhythm is working for you right now. If you're excited and you're motivated, you want to just sit down and do one thing all day, or you want to flit from thing to thing, whatever it is, you want to go really, really slowly and not do anything for a couple of weeks, that's all good too. I'm not giving you instructions in terms of what pace to take, just to start listening to a new rhythm that wants to take its place right now, understanding that your body is talking to you. And while sometimes when we're in fear, or just a little bit hyped up and heffed up on goofballs, as my partner would say, in that driving go mode, and especially doing that out of fear with all of that adrenaline and cortisol fueling you, it can be really hard to just take a breath and listen. And if you can open your heart in that space, if you can feel safe enough to embrace new ways, new information, really new information, you don't even have to act on it. Just slow down and listen, accept some new information and open your heart to that so that you can actually hear. So I've been feeling that there's been a little bit of a resistance in the heart space and a little bit of turbulence in the solar plexus for a lot of people listening to this. I certainly relate to that. I'm feeling more on the other side of that after, taking Spirit's advice and listening to what my body needs and what my soul needs at this time. But what I've been hearing from Spirit is when we allow ourselves to follow our intuition, that is incredibly heart opening and solar plexus healing, and it's going to solve all of these issues. So I know we hear this again and again and again. I feel like I should just make one video and it's just like, follow your excitement, follow your joy, and then I'll just like post that every day as a reminder to people, right? But in terms of like this discord that you might be experiencing at the moment, if you're listening to this and hopefully you're starting to, ease into new positions, new postures, starting to, allow yourself to be a little bit flexible again. But if this is still kind of new to you, then you're probably feeling like a bit of, grinding of the gears, like the bones kind of clinking and clicking a little bit, because you don't want to change direction or shift gears right now. And that's okay. But what's coming through from Spirit is that when we follow our intuition and we follow our joy, which I'm marrying as the same thing here, your joy and your intuition. Did you know they're the same thing? They can be the same thing. They work together. Your joy is showing you what lights you up. It's showing you where you're meant to be. It's showing you what's meant for you. And if what brings you joy is changing, let it. Take baby steps in the direction of your joy. You might have thought, well, my joy was to, paint the house. But I've been working really hard at it now, and the house is a mess. And, I've blown the budget or whatever's happening. And all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. It's not your joy. Don't beat yourself up. Don't go, okay, I'm so cruddy at this. Why did I forget to be grateful? Why did I forget to be joyful? How do I enjoy this again? But maybe the energy is just not right now. Maybe the lesson is it's time to just take your hands off the wheel a bit and go, okay, the house is a mess. It's half painted, but I'm still going to go and make these baby steps. I'm still going to go and follow my joy. I'm still going to find a way to make space for this in my life because it's important. And what it's doing is it's fixing all those other problems. Again, it's that classic advice of, if something's bothering you, take a break from it. Go find something that isn't bothering you. Go find your own natural rhythm again, and then you can come back to it with fresh energy and an open heart. I'm also hearing here that the higher self can't speak through you when your heart is closed off. So when it's a little bit like pinched shut, when you feel your heart chakra just contract, signs will be, tension in the muscle area, shortness of breath, tightness in your back, and also kind of an unwillingness to just say yes to life and yes to the new, right? When our hearts are a little bit more pinched shut, we feel like, no, there's no room for anything else. There's no room for anything to come in. I'm in this closed shop, protected mind. But when our heart is open, not only are we able to be more flexible, but we also make space for our higher self. So our higher self sits in the heart. Our higher self sits through all of us. My higher self is in me here now. And I always think that I'm going to talk a little bit more slowly or deliberately or gravely, as if when I'm speaking through my higher self, everything's going to land like, like Moses on a hill or something. But really, the soul is playful. The soul wants to move. The soul wants to stretch and experiment. Your soul chose to come here to earth. The soul loves a game. The soul loves a challenge. The soul loves whimsy and detours. The soul loves experimentation. And when you can just stay open to that flow of energy and allow it to keep coming through, your higher self comes and sits in here and is able to speak through you. Because when you speak as your higher self, when you allow your higher self to work through you, it doesn't work through like her voice coming through my voice or her eyes and my eyes. I do meditation activities that help us visualize that, but it's entirely a channel from the heart. Well, okay, entirely perhaps isn't the right word, but this is where you feel it. This is where it's being spoken through. This is the transmission. So you're hearing my words, you're seeing my face, but what you're actually experiencing, where the message is coming through, is my heart to yours. And when you're in the presence of someone's higher self, when you meet someone who's soul embodied, and there are lots of levels to this, right? We all have distortion that makes it less clear. We all have tension and tightness and fears of being seen and all of this. There are lots of layers and dimensions to this. So let's hold it as a continuum. But when you're in the presence of someone's higher self, that brings you into their resonance. it's such a powerful experience. It's such a powerful awakening. You know, you get those stories about, you know, the yogi gurus who walk around the practice room and they'll touch you on the head, or just looking into their eyes brings a kind of ecstatic, expanded awareness of who you are and your connection to things. Sometimes being in the presence of that kind of energy, that kind of soulfulness, right, can even be extremely triggering. So if someone's been an ego for a long time and very disconnected from their intuition and their soul, it is like, in a way, a kind of ego death that begins happening almost instantly. And there can be screaming, there can be dissatisfaction, there can be restlessness, there can be arguing with other people around you, because the universe all of a sudden is responding to this awakening, showing you what you're really meant to be doing, but the ego's freaking out. But when you allow yourself to experience that higher self, and you open your heart to the mastery all around you, to your loved ones, to a YouTube video, to a meditation you're listening to a book you're reading, what you're doing is you are inviting your higher self to match that energy. You're letting the law of attraction pull you up into that resonance. Why am I mentioning this specifically now? Because what I wanted to pull through, or what I was anticipating pulling through, is again this reminder that doing what feels good to you, following your joy, is very healing for your solar plexus. And it has a flow-on effect to your heart, right? Because when we can trust ourselves to take actions that are in alignment for us, that are nourishing to our soul, that are nourishing for our body, that are what we need, when we can trust ourselves, then we know we're safe. Then we know we're safe to open our hearts. It's when those base chakras like the solar plexus and the root and the sacral are out of whack that we struggle with the higher chakras, because why would we channel higher information? Why would we let people come into us and experience us as who we really are, and our soul and all of that vulnerability, if we feel like that's not conducive to our alignment, conducive to our well-being, conducive to our good vibes? But what's rather coming through channel now? As a card finally falls out, is this idea of being in the presence of the ascended masters, of the higher selves. Okay. So what I pulled here is Earth Day. This card is all warped with salt because my little salt candle holder melted all over this deck, but I love it. It's like it's been super cleansed and salty. So this card says Earth Day, and look, we've got the Sphinx under construction, we've got a pyramid, we've got the sun, not in the middle of the sky, but up. And it actually came out upside down. And that feels right. As soon as I turned the card upside down, I just felt this flood of energy come down into me. What does that mean to you, the upside down pyramid, the unseen, the astral realm? What's being rearranged, reconfigured geometrically around you right now? So you've probably heard that that idea, that sense that layered with the real Great Pyramid of Giza. Is that one pyramid? What's it called? So there's a big pyramid. And apparently energetically, like in the astral or in the 4D or the 5D, there's another pyramid upside down laid on the top of it. So that when we merge these densities and layers, what we actually have sitting there is a macabre. So when I see an upside down pyramid, I'm immediately thinking of this macabre, and I'm thinking about quantum shifts. I'm thinking about timelines here. Okay, cool. So things are being rearranged here, and our guides are telling me, reminding me that a really powerful, easy, instant way to quantum leap, to shift your timeline, shift vibrations, is to make your peace with everything that's happened up until now as being exactly what you needed to get you to your desired destination, right? So you might think like, oh no, I was on my way to manifesting a golden retriever, okay? Like, I'm gonna have a golden retriever. And you're manifesting, but then it gets hard. You're making all these calls. You're trying to approve your application with a breeder. You can't get trainers. Your rental agency has told you, oh, actually, we need more information before you can adopt a pet. Like, everything's getting a bit hard, right? And maybe it gets to a point where, like, in the time that this has all happened, bills have come up and the money you had aside for the golden retriever is now had to be paid for something else, and now it just feels kind of like dead in the water, right? And you're like, oh, like it's so out of alignment, it's not working. But if you want to, you know, resolve your vibration, smooth out your vibration, make all of this static, all of this chaos and distortion okay, and find yourself back in that state of flow, this is what you do. I accept life. I accept the flow, and I accept that everything that I've experienced up until now was for my highest good, bringing me into alignment with my highest self and my highest expression. And that's it. That's it. Because you see, chaos, distortion, darkness, whatever it is, the illusion of separation, all of that, none of that is bad. None of that is anti-peace. None of that is anti-highest timeline. The distortion is a tool to get you towards peace. You know, Abraham Hicks talks about it like contrast. But it's also, you know, the guardrails on the bowling alley. It's the bumper bars coming in saying like, nope, you're not allowed to go there. You're not allowed to go there. And you might go boom, 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 bang, 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 bang down the alley. But you're still going to end up at the end of the track. You know, you still got a good shot of hitting a bunch of pins down at the end there. So spirit, you know, when we can't listen to spirit, when we make excuses, when we ignore the advice, when we lean on our dependencies or our fears, or we allow the muscle memory and the unconscious aspect of us to lead the way, instead of slowing down, instead of listening to what's new, then spirit goes, okay, well, I'll get you there another way then. You know, it's like you kids asked to go to SeaWorld, but they're having a meltdown and they're kicking and screaming like, I can't buy my socks, I can't go, this is bad, this is sad. Or they don't want to get in the car because they're thinking, you know, they're not making the connection between getting in the car and then arriving at SeaWorld or whatever it is. And so they're freaking out and they're screaming, and you're like, please just get in the car, like please just, you know, and then we'll be at SeaWorld, and they're just not cooperating. So maybe you have to be like, okay, fine, we'll stay here a little bit longer then, and we might be late, but that's fine. Or maybe you have to like pick them up and kind of like put them in the car and buckle them in. You know, maybe it's something where you really have to get moving and you're like, sorry, you're just gonna have to cry the whole way. And so you're like blasting the wiggles the whole way down. It's all kind of chaotic and not fun. But at the end, you're still getting where you need to go. So spirit works this out for us. It's basically saying you're being dragged to this manifestation, kicking and screaming, or you can breathe and listen to us and trust our higher wisdom and knowledge, and allow us to carry you forward in this current as gently and with as much joy and fun as possible. Okay, cool, that feels good. This energy is like ticked off. Awesome. Okay, so baby steps, follow your intuition. You know, all of this, following your joy, following your intuition right now, all of this is working together. So being able to listen to your joy in the first place is an act in slowing down and listening, which is going to make you better at slowing down and listening to other things, right? You'd be like, oh, I get to listen to what I really, really want to do right now. So it feels safe to listen. So you're teaching yourself how to listen by doing this. In following your joy, you're bringing that new energy in. You're getting back into alignment. You're healing your heart chakra, healing your solar plexus, and then allowing yourself to, again, get in that flow so that you can either return to what you were doing or continue in a new dynamic or trajectory. But with that joy and that flow and that ease and that abundance again. So listen to your intuition. Keep making baby steps. For example, I feel a little bit like I need to be go, 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 go in certain areas, but I'm slowing down and I'm journaling and I'm taking a little bit more time to, clean my fingernails and paint my nails and, draw and just be creative again and allow myself to honor all the parts of me who haven't always gotten a turn to talk in my life, whether that's to cry or to dance or be silly or sing out or scream, just remembering, accepting that we are, 1,000 versions of us. There are 1,000 Kellys in here. And sometimes some of them want to breathe and talk. They have a purpose for us. And you don't always have to, you don't let them lead the show, but just keep your heart open and listen and make space. And if you feel like you need other people's approval for that, then all that's doing is showing you that you're not ready to accept yourself, that you're not ready to love yourself and everything that you are and everything that's breathing in you. Because these things that you want in you, they are for you and they are compatible. They feel like they're not sometimes, but keep breathing, keep listening, following the steps. We don't always have this 360 perspective where we understand how everything locks in, and we don't need to. We've got whole teams of spirits all over the universe and teams of people here on the planet too, playing their part and working it out. You don't have to know. And why would you want to know? Do you want to read the script to the movie you're watching in the cinema as it goes? Enjoy life, enjoy being in the present moment and not having that bird's eye vision. So again, joy. Joy, 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 joy. Okay. Spirit Fox, trust your talents in changing times. Okay, this is a cool one and I'm really feeling this land. Okay, so this is exciting because I wanted to say this, but I wasn't sure if I was just being, overly optimistic, telling people what they want to hear. Okay, so you probably feel like the world is all crazy at the moment, right? Do you feel like the world is crazy? I feel like a really deep peace. I feel like an awakening. I feel these like golden light and vibrant greens and blues. Like I feel so much energy in the earth, like unlocking underneath everything on the surface. And it feels ecstatic and joyful and healed. And New Earth is already rising up. New Earth is already here. It's making itself known and stretching out into this new space. But yeah, there's still this chaos on the surface, right? And you may find yourself asking yourself questions like, where's the economy going? If there's another lockdown or a pandemic, how can I set myself up to still be able to survive through that again? How can I be resilient and versatile and valuable in my offerings and my service? Or where do I want to live? You might think, oh, I would really love to live like out in the country, but it depends on a lot of deliveries, and if there's a pandemic that might not be possible. And you're trying to intellectualize the future, which you can't, which is unknowable, because the whole frequency of the earth is changing as we move forward through time. So we can't, we might say from this point in time, here's the trajectory, but then tomorrow the frequency's gone up again, the trajectory's changed, and the next day the frequency's gone up, and then there's been a lot of chaos and distortion in the collective, and then the trajectory's changed again. So really trying to predict the future, I find to be like a little bit unhelpful. If there's a future you're predicting that you really, really love, hold that vision. Keep anchoring yourself into that. But also allow a little bit of space there for things to move and flow. Because sometimes when we have a vision of the future, right, sometimes we see ourselves on our highest timeline, you're like, yeah, I'm on the beach reading my book and, teaching yoga or whatever it is that you're seeing as your highest timeline in your ultimate expression. We tend to fill in the gaps of that we tend to go, okay, well, I'm on the beach teaching yoga, and then we're like, so the rest of the planet must look like this, and I must have gotten there this way, and maybe this happened, and maybe this is what's going on, and I must be making a lot of money out of teaching yoga so that I have time to rest on the beach and, you know, do that so casually. And we start making all these assumptions, start building a whole epic story around it. And this is done subconsciously and unconsciously most of the time. It's not that you're sitting there creating all these conditions on your vision. However, there is opportunity there for you to rather hold on to the feeling that you're manifesting, all details, you know, a sense of relaxation, a sense of flow, a sense of choice, you know, a sense of freedom in your life where you get to do what you want to do when. I'm seeing this come up again too. Manifesting abundance, right? It's not just that the baby steps are putting you in the direction of where you want to go. It's you telling your body, your nervous system, and the universe, I can do what I want. I have freedom, I have space, I have time, I have this abundance. I have the serenity, the love, the inspiration, and the connection showing me that I can do what I love, that I can do what's joyful. Do you feel the power of that? Do you understand that when you tell the universe, I have time to do what I want, the things that I love and want to do are worthy? My rest is important, and I deserve to rest. I deserve to be nourished. Well, watch the universe rearrange around that. But there's also here like different ways to be abundant too, right? Because if we see ourselves like lying on a beach, casually teaching yoga like once a day, reading a book, then we might think, oh, well, I must be rich enough to do that. But what does that mean? Does that mean you won $1 million and now you just teach yoga for fun? Does it mean you're everybody's favorite yoga teacher? People give you a lot of money to do it. Or does it mean that you are so healthy, you have so much energy and vitality that you're really saving so much money, not pursuing, you know, things to boost you up, things to make you feel good that you just don't need anymore? Maybe you have so much peace and trust in your own protection, in the flow of the universe, bringing you towards your mission, whatever that is, that your root chakra is so healed that you don't feel like you need, you know, millions of dollars anymore. You don't feel like you need to own a house. You don't feel like you need that gigantic savings account. You've just seen the universe again and again provide and bring you lovingly each moment to the next without starving, without being homeless. You're protected anyway. And you rest in that knowing, feeling abundant, and allows you to just relax and enjoy life. You know, enjoying life, loving life, isn't that really what we're after here? And the conditions, you know, they're movable. And this is why it's so important to keep listening, because our soul always have new information for us that we're becoming more and more ready for. With each breath, with each deep breath, we become more and more ready to hear our soul and to be our soul. So maybe there's a little bit of fear there. Maybe you're feeling into a higher timeline and what your soul really wants. And maybe your soul doesn't want to be super rich, for example. Maybe your soul is like, actually, that sounds like a drag. It feels like I'd be distracted. It feels like I'd be spending all my time trying to do all of these things just because I can now, you know, like maybe traveling the world or doing this or doing that, or starting this business or buying a house or whatever. When what your soul actually wants is just a hammock on a beach and to just sit there for a good year, taking in the seasons and the cycles and enjoying that space. And if you had millions of dollars, maybe you wouldn't appreciate that about yourself. Maybe you wouldn't give yourself what you really need. And of course, when we're really in alignment, we go, well, I'll take the $1 million and listen to the wisdom of, you know, my need to lie on a beach for a year. But you know, we're all learning to be better listeners with each little new experience, new kid in class, spanner in the works. I'm trying to think of kind of neutral ways to phrase, all these shake-ups. Okay, so you don't know what the future holds. You don't know exactly how you're going to get to this place of your highest expression, right? So don't be tempted to tell yourself that it's not feasible to do what you want to do. Don't say because I've thought about this too. I've thought, okay, if there's World War III about to break out, right? Not that I think that that's going to happen. I don't even watch the news, but I can understand that people feel all of this disruption and chaos in the collective, and it could happen. So I'd be like, well, if everybody's in a state of fear and, penny pinching maybe, they're probably not going to be spending their money on psychic readings, right? I'm like, okay, maybe I need to become a more essential worker, so to speak, right? I'm like, what happens when times are bad and it's hard to put food on the table, right? So that's me not trusting my intuition, not trusting that I just need to take it one baby step at a time towards my joy. That's me going, no, I'm going to intellectualize the future and not trust my talents in changing times, okay? But this is an invitation for you to trust yourself, trust your joy. You might say, oh, well, I really want to just record little videos where I give a little prayer and or something like that, or I make little trinkets that are protection amulets and I infuse them with this energy and they're really pretty and little girls love them. I sell them on Etsy or whatever it is. Spirit knows exactly what's going to happen and it knows how to position you. So just open your mind to the possibility that maybe there is exactly a place for you in whatever's happening. For example, say, everyone's in a state of fear and panic and nobody's got any money to spend on psychic readings, but you put a little video, a prayer up on YouTube every single day and people flock to that. They flock to that peace, that comfort, that faith, that awareness, which is free for them on the internet and, which YouTube and Google and whatever might pay you for based on your views. So you might think, well, this thing I'm doing isn't really that valuable, that useful, but maybe it's exactly what people are actually going to be turning to as the earth shifts and changes and there are all these dynamics. Don't try to predict what everyone's going to do based off the past. Don't assume everyone's going to go run out and buy toilet paper and that you need to start a toilet paper company instead of your faith-based business, for example. Or maybe what happens is your little amulets that you're selling, somebody notices them and they notice how talented you are and they go, wow, that's really beautiful. Have you ever considered working with more precious gems and materials? And they invite you into their workshop and they show you how to make these really lavish pieces and you end up making thousands of dollars off these really ornate bits of jewelry that are energetically charged and ceremonial. And what that does is it helps you build up your bank account so fat that you invest in stuff and then you're all set that way. And you don't even need to worry about money for the next decade. These are kind of, I realize these might sound like silly examples, but the universe often operates this way and I've experienced this myself. I slowed down and I listened to spirit and it said start your own editing business, and through one job, one link, one click, one teaching myself how to do this and that, it landed me here. See? So I listened to spirit. I was like, cool, I know how to edit, I know how to write, I'll start my own little editing business. And just boom, 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 boom. Every twist and turn, every synchronicity, every miracle on that path, which was such a beautiful, gentle journey to get here with so much abundance and excitement. That just came from a little advice from spirit. And, spirit wasn't saying, start an editing business and you're going to end up in a place where you just love your job so much that you do it for free, that you'll show up every day, that that you just feel so rich and abundant doing what you do that anything that comes after that is just a bonus, right? Spirit didn't say that to me, it just said do this, and I thought that sounds fun, I reckon I could do that. And it led me to the highest excitement yet. Okay, so trust your talents again. Don't judge them. Don't try to intellectualize. Again, we know you're in a kind of like, you know, heading towards burnout, if not burnt out energy at the moment. But try not to use the brain state that got you there while you're feeling into this new energy, okay? All right. Any other messages? Lao Tzu fell off the bookshelf when I went to go grab my tarot deck, so I'm going to open to a page for us all. I opened the page and then Spirit said, not that page. And I was like, but it's the page I opened. I looked down, it was blank. That one. Okay. This artwork, anonymous, 12th century, a branch of white jasmine. How funny that the page we opened up to wasn't wisdom from Lao Tzu, but artwork from someone anonymous who lived 800 years ago. And isn't that a beautiful follow-up to what we've just talked about? You don't know where your joy is taking you. You don't know how far your art can travel. 800 years from now, someone could open up a book and see an image of something you created. And that could be inspiration that brings them back towards their highest excitement. That reminds them that the arc of the universe is long. That everything is eventually reconciled. That everything returns to love. And that everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose, even if it's not always realized. Or even if it's not even done its job 800 years from now. Everything has a purpose. So if you're looking at your paintings of jasmine, or whatever it is in your life, and you're not sure if it deserves to exist, remember, God's got it. God worked it out already. You put that desire in your heart for a reason. Let him use you. Let yourself be a finger of God and enjoy the process. Okay. Thanks, collective. Much appreciated. Talk soon.